You can manifest anything that you want in this life, but first, you need to detach. The law of detachment is one of the hardest spiritual laws to practice, not because the law is complicated. Actually, the law is very simple. The law of detachment is difficult to practice because it confronts the part of you, the human part of you, that still believes that you need your manifestation in order to feel whole. Getting to a place where you feel whole, you feel happy, you feel grounded, you feel all the emotions that you think your manifestation is going to give you. Being able to feel those things without the evidence is the real work. That is what the transformation is about, actually. If you can understand how to actually detach, you will never struggle to manifest anything again. And I know you know this to be true because from your personal experience, I'm pretty sure the things that you manifest very quickly are the things that you don't really care about. And you tend to call those things the small things. But the things that you really, really want, the job opportunities, the money, the new business, the big things, those things tend to take so much longer. And here's the crazy part about all of this. The in-between period that it takes to go from your current reality to your desired reality, that lag is not law. I like to define manifestation as consciousness coming to light. Consciousness is who you are internally, and all manifestation is your internal world being expressed externally. There are people who are able to manifest instantly. Let's look at Jesus. Jesus was able to perform miracles instantly, not because he was special or because there was just something about him or because he was the Son of God and because he was supposed to be worshipped. Jesus was able to perform miracles instantly because there never existed a version of him that doubted his manifestations. When he declared that you were healed, there was no part of him that was like, oh, but are you? But like, I don't know. I don't know. When our souls make the decision to come on earth to have a human experience, we individually come with different veils. So when I say different veils, I mean different levels of forgetfulness of our godly nature. And Jesus was just someone who had a thinner veil. His consciousness was higher than most of us. So there never existed a version of him that ever doubted. Regardless of the circumstances that he grew up with, he never doubted who he was and what he could do. And that's why his manifestations were instant. You have grown up being conditioned to be a certain type of way. And then you came across manifestation content and now you started to learn how to consciously create your life. And now you theoretically understand what manifestation is. But now you're struggling to navigate the period of time, the lag, the void, the gap between your current reality and your desired reality. And in that gap, you start feeling doubtful. You start feeling like, oh, I don't really know if I'm actually shifting. Is this really working? You need to be able to practice the law of detachment in that lag because it's from you staying detached in the lag that shortens the period of time that is taken between your current reality and the materialization of your desired reality. So in this video, I'm going to teach you how to stop wanting what you really want. And no, I'm not about to tell you that, oh, if you're spiritual, then you shouldn't have money and material things are bad and it's low vibrational. You should not really care about material things. Who told you that? We are having a human experience. You might as well enjoy your life. So if you want money and you want comfort and you want luxury and you want health and you want abs, it doesn't really matter. You're allowed to enjoy life in the way that you want to enjoy life. Let's not moralize your desires. So let's get to the video. Detachment, in my opinion, is literally the key to manifesting. Most of the times, people who are able to manifest bigger things much faster than others, it's because there's an aspect of them that doesn't necessarily need that thing so bad. And this is why we say the rich get richer and the poor get poorer, because the rich already have so much money. So even when they want more money, they don't need it that bad. There's no part of them that is thinking, oh, I could potentially not get this, because they already have the money. So they have a good foundation that allows them to expect prosperity. But if you've grown up in scarcity and you're trying to step into abundance, then what you have become accustomed to is lack, it's struggle. Detachment doesn't mean that you no longer care or you pretend that you don't want it. You can't pretend to detach. And this is where sometimes I agree with the delusional thinking and sometimes I don't, because people throw around the blanket statement delusion, like, oh yeah, just delude yourself into doing this, just delude. And sometimes there's a level of delusion that feels like pretense. You can't trick the universe into giving you what you want because you are the universe. So even when you're pretending to detach, you know that you're pretending. You end up not manifesting the things that you want because you are aware that you are pretending not to care. So even when you're thinking, oh, but okay, but I've really been detaching, I don't even care about this thing. Really? So why are you here asking me why is it not here yet? Detachment is not something you can pretend to do. It's something that you must be. When Jesus would perform miracles, he was never shocked when the miracles would happen. It's always the people who are around him that would be shocked. Even the Pharisees said to him that he was being blasphemous. How dare he perform miracles, because miracles were supposed to be something that could only be done by God. He literally brought people from the dead. He gave sight to the blind. He healed people with crazy, deadly diseases. And he was never shocked at the things he did. Miracles are just a materialization of alignment. Jesus understood that he was one with God, and he knew that he was able to perform the miracles that only God could because he was God. And he would even say, it's not me who's doing anything, it's my Father in heaven that is doing things through me. So he was aware that it's not his human self who's making things happen. It's his connection to God. And he even went ahead and said to his disciples, the things that I have done, you can do also, and even greater. Because he was literally trying to tell us, you're not supposed to be worshiping me. I'm not doing these things because you're so crazy and I'm the only one who's in touch because I'm the Son of God. He was literally saying, the things that I have done, you can do also, because this is exactly how life is supposed to be. Manifestation is not something that you're able to do because you understand spirituality or because you're better than other people or because you are, the chosen one, or because it's just something about you. Manifestation is just how reality works. It's simply consciousness coming to light, or your frequency coming to light. I'm going to use frequency and consciousness interchangeably, so keep up. So if Jesus, in his consciousness, he was aware that he was one with God, that he was aligned with God. He was aware that he could do anything that he put his mind to. He could do because of his oneness with God. Whenever he performed miracles, the miracles were not actually miracles. They were just a materialization of his knowing that he was one with God. He was not hoping that he was one with God. He was not affirming that he was one with God. He knew that he was one with God, and therefore he materialized things that were evidence that he was one with God. It was as simple as that. And this is where I say, do not complicate manifestation for yourself, because there's something that happens when you start to study manifestation, and it actually ends up feeling like the more you learn, the lesser you're manifesting, because you keep thinking that you really need to just understand and understand and understand. There's nothing more for you to understand. I promise you, this video is enough for you to manifest anything you've ever wanted. In my last video, I actually talked about the lag, and I said that in the in-between where you're still, when you've shifted your identity or you've shifted your frequency, but reality hasn't caught up yet, is the universe ensuring that your frequency is actually stable. And when I say the universe, I want you to bear in mind that the universe is you. The universe is you and God is you. There is nothing outside of you withholding anything from you. And the reason why I am addressing this is because somebody commented in that video and they really wanted me to clarify what I meant by that, because they felt confused of what I was saying, because I said that I personally refer to that lag as a period of precision. I'm going to put her comment here so you can pause the video and read what she said. And I understood what she was saying, because I remember also being confused by that, because I kept thinking, okay, if I am God and I have declared that something is true for me, surely why is it taking time if I have already declared that it's done? And I am God. Why is there a lag? And this is what I want you guys to understand. The lag is not law. People take different times to manifest things that they want. There's someone who can go from 0 to 100. There's someone who has to go step by step, maybe from 0 to 50 to 100. People take different steps because the lag is not law. It doesn't apply to everyone. The lag is purely your state of consciousness becoming stable enough in order for it to actually materialize. But if it's still wishy-washy because there's a part of you that still hasn't detached from that manifestation, then the lag is going to be longer. The most important thing within the lag, within the period of time where things look like nothing is happening, is your ability to stay detached, your ability to be unmoved by circumstances. Think about that guy that has wanted you since forever. Literally, you guys grew up together, you even got married, and the guy is still there. He would do anything to have you. Why are you not with that guy? Because there's something about his energy that feels repulsive. That obsession feels repulsive, and you keep telling them that it's never gonna happen and they just don't get it. That is the exact same way the universe is feeling about you. Not because it's withholding anything from you, but because the fact that you need this thing so bad, your desperation is repulsive. I'm making this very clear. Manifestation is consciousness coming to light. You desperately want this thing. So you're feeling like without this money, without this job, without a family, without a husband, without good health, you are incomplete. You need this thing to complete you. The consciousness that you're in is you're incomplete. You're lacking. And what's going to manifest? You lacking. You being incomplete. You never having that thing. You never manifest what you want. You manifest who you are. This is really important for you to understand, because especially if you grew up religious, because if you grew up religious, there's an aspect of religion that taught you that you have to convince God to give you the things that you really want. So you'll pray and you'll beg and you'll get on your knees and you'll call God in all the different names, Yahweh and Jehovah, and you are everlasting and King of glory and I don't know what. Like, I grew up hearing things like that, and I would grow up seeing people crying to God, begging God, praying so loudly, tears and snot, like, you know, like, oh my God, God, if you just give me this thing, I just need this thing. And they will list the reasons why they need it, how they're going to help the poor if they get it, how they're going to name their child after someone in the Bible if they get something, it's how they're never going to sin again, how they're going to do the. Why are you trying to convince God? It's like religion has conditioned most people to think about God as a parent that you have to convince about something that you need. Now, I'm gonna do something crazy. I've got the Bible in my hand and I'm going to read actually 2 different verses. Wow, this is taking me to dark times when I used to be religious. But obviously, I'm doing this because I want to actually tell you guys the esoteric meanings of certain verses in the Bible. This is about where Jesus was talking about not being anxious. So this is Matthew chapter 6, verse 25. So it says, "Therefore I tell you, do not be anxious about your life, what you will eat or what you will drink, nor about your body, what you will put on. Is not life more than food, and the body more than clothing? Look at the birds of the air. They neither sow nor reap nor gather into barns, and yet your heavenly Father feeds them. Are you not of more value than they are? And which of you, by being anxious, can add a single hour to his lifespan? And why are you anxious about clothing? Consider the lilies of the field, how they grow. They neither toil nor spin. Yet I tell you, even Solomon in all his glory was not arrayed like one of these. But if God so clothes the grass of the field, which today is alive and tomorrow is thrown into the oven, will he not much more clothe you, O you of little faith? Therefore do not be anxious, saying, what shall we eat, or what shall we drink, or what shall we wear? For the Gentiles Seek all these things, and your heavenly Father knows that you need them all. But seek first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all the things shall be added unto you. Therefore, do not be anxious about tomorrow, for tomorrow will be anxious for itself. Sufficient for the day is its own trouble. Obviously, we're not religious people here, so I'm going to tell you the esoteric meaning of all of this. But this is not about God providing, as in the God in heaven, in the sky, is going to reward you or whatever if you worship him. Seeking first the kingdom of God is being in a state of bliss, is being still and knowing that I am, you are God. Seeking the kingdom of heaven is not going to heaven in the sky. Entering the kingdom of heaven is being able to see beyond your troubles, beyond your problems, because those problems are just life happening. Life happens to all of us, and life doesn't really have meaning. We are the ones who attach meaning to life. So when you are in a state of heaven, when you have sought the kingdom of God meaning the state of mind of pure bliss, the state of mind where you know that you have nothing to worry about, then everything shall be added unto you. Again, manifestation is consciousness coming to light. So when you are in a state of consciousness where you know that you have nothing to worry about and everything is working out for you, guess what's going to manifest? Synchronicities of things always working out for you regardless of what's happening. And then I'm going to take you to another verse. Matthew chapter 7 verse 7. Ask, it will be given to you. Seek and you will find. Knock and it will be open to you. For everyone who asks receives, and the one who seeks finds, and to the one who knocks it will be opened. Or which of you, if his son asks for bread, will give him a stone? Or if he asks for fish, will give him a serpent? If you then, who are evil, know how to give good gifts to your children, how much more will your Father who is in heaven give good things to those who ask him? I knew up to seek and you will find, knock and the door shall be open to you, blah, blah, blah. Like, I just knew up to that part. I had never read beyond it, like slightly beyond it, where he said, if your own son was to ask you for food, you wouldn't give him a stone. If he was to ask for bread, you wouldn't give him a snake. So if you who is evil, as in you who is human, who is limited, who is a limited human being, if you are able to give good things to your children, you're able to recognize their needs and you're able to show up for them, why on earth would God, who is infinite, who has more than enough, why would God not give you the things that you want? Why? Do you understand? This is what detachment truly means. Now, obviously, I don't really think you want to bring people from the dead and give sight to the blind. Obviously, I don't really think you want to do that. You just want to make a bit of money. You want to get a new opportunity. You just want to live a comfortable life, live a good life, enjoy your life. Why on earth are you placing this thing on such a pedestal that you're forgetting that you are God and you're infinite? So you're worrying about something and then wondering why it's still not manifesting, yet you've spent most of your time worrying about it not manifesting and wondering what you're going to do when it doesn't manifest. When you ask for something and you prepare for the lack of it, like most of the times people will say that, oh, I'm manifesting money, I'm manifesting this, and then the way they live their life looks like they're preparing for that thing not manifesting. You keep manifesting money, but you are somehow preparing for loss or preparing for not getting clients or preparing for a low season in your life. How can you say in the same breath that you're manifesting money, and then when it comes to the way you're living your life, you are preparing for the lack of it? You're saying, oh, just in case it doesn't happen. How can it be just in case? Do you not understand that manifestation is not something you hope for? It's something that you know. You must know. The same way Jesus was never shocked when he performed miracles, because he knew what he was doing. It was a materialization of his alignment with God. So when you are aligned with God, when you understand that you are God and you are unlimited and you are infinite, why would you desperately need something when you are already everything? When I say to you that you are God, I'm not saying that to make you feel good. I'm not saying that to empower you. It's not an affirmation, it's a fact. When you still want it so bad and you're being so desperate for it, when you're attaching so tightly to the things that you want, you are essentially using those things as evidence of your worth, which is crazy because reality works in the opposite way. Your worth is what dictates what is going to manifest. The reason why there's certain people who can make $1 million in a month, it's because it feels normal to them. Their worth is calibrated at $1 million a month. So you, who is still stuck at 5K a month, your worth is calibrated at 5K. So regardless of what you do, regardless of how much money you keep saying you want, you might have instances where you're actually able to have a big jump and manifest something quickly, but somehow you always keep going back. You keep going back to default settings. And this is why, for you to be able to truly manifest something that's going to stay, you must completely shift your identity and stop identifying as purely a human being and shift into your identity as God, as your infinite self. Because if you can anchor your identity on the fact that you are God, then you realize that the avatar that you're using in the moment, the mask you're wearing, is interchangeable. Being able to detach from your manifestation is realizing that you don't need those things to be worthy in the first place. Your worth comes from the fact that you are one with pure consciousness. You are one with God. You are one with the ultimate creator. There is nothing that has ever been outside of you. But now here's the thing. I'm not even judging you for it, because just because you are God having a human experience doesn't mean that you've forgotten that you're human. You're still human. And now here's the gag, because I'm gonna bring you guys into my personal life. So I have been working with Nero on a personal level to help me manifest an amount of money. And I'm not gonna tell you guys exactly how much money I want to manifest, but I have been manifesting an amount of money for 2 months now. I really felt like I've really been maintaining the frequency. Like I've gone through different levels. First of all, I started by pivoting my content, and this was something that I had felt called to do for a very long time, and I just kept running away from it. And then initially, obviously, I was making money from brand deals because I had an Instagram before this. I built my Instagram to almost 100,000 followers, and then I deactivated my Instagram, my old Instagram, and I started a new one because I knew that I wanted to completely shift my identity, and I no longer felt aligned to that old identity. So that's why I knew that I had to let that go. I knew how to navigate making money through brand deals because I had been doing that for 3 years. I started creating content in 2020, and so I started my YouTube channel in 2022, and I was very lucky because I got monetized literally within a week of me starting my YouTube channel. So my YouTube growth was very fast, and I started making money pretty quickly from brand deals. But obviously I had different challenges then, but the one thing that I knew about brand deals was it felt easier for me to ask for a certain amount of money because it felt like it's a brand, it's a company, it's a lot of people, they have the budget, like it's them. But now when it came to me monetizing what I'm currently doing right now, and now going from brand deals to clients, to one-on-one clients, there was a part of me that felt like I was taking money away from people. And it's like, on one level, I had really detached from the amount of money that I wanted to manifest. Like, I really felt like if it was to happen, honestly, I'm not even gonna lie to you guys, if I was to see that money in my bank account right now, I really would not be impressed. Like, I actually would not be impressed. That is how normal that amount of money has become to me. And so in the 2 months, I spent most of the time normalizing that amount of money. And I do believe that normalizing what you want, normalizing your manifestations is one of the most important steps. But there's still something that I was missing. So in the 2 months, I was like, okay, I really feel like I've been aligning. I really feel like, in fact, I wasn't even, like looking back to see, oh, is it coming? Is it happening? Is it not? I knew that I had really been maintaining my frequency, and I was really feeling good. In fact, my sessions with Nero, we barely had anything to talk about because he was like, nah, I feel like you're good. You're really, I can tell that you're really maintaining your frequency. And then last week, when I posted my video, I told you guys that the next video I was going to talk about was about detachment. And so throughout the week, what normally happens is I start thinking about the angle that I'm going to go with that video and how I'd like to package the video and the things that I want to talk about in the video. I ended up having a conversation with my best friend, and she lives in Canada, so we hadn't actually had time to do like a proper catch-up session because of the time difference, and she has a 9-to-5 job, and like, it's just crazy. So when we finally got a chance to be on FaceTime for some time, she was like, oh, how is your manifestation going? I'm pretty sure you've reached it by now. And I was like, actually I haven't. And then she proceeded to say, oh, but I'm pretty sure you should be, almost close now. And she was saying this very innocently, like there was no part of her that was saying this to maybe make me feel some type of way. She was actually saying this, asking this very innocently. I felt so uneasy, and I just said to her, I'm gonna let you know when I reach it. But I knew that I felt triggered. I was like, oh my God, wait, how long has it been? Because the way she asked me that, it's like, it's been long enough for me to be able to have that money by now. So that was the first time since me starting to consciously manifest this amount of money that I sat back and I was like, hold on, how long has it been? It's been 2 months. And now I started thinking, oh, am I missing something? In the 2 months, nothing has changed. Am I missing something? Surely something should have changed by now. Because in the past, whenever I would manifest an amount of money, it would take maybe like 3 days or 5 days at most to happen. And something would always happen. But again, in the past, I never manifested the exact amount that I'm manifesting now, which is way more than what I used to manifest before. So in the past, I was still manifesting amounts of money that I felt safe receiving because it felt normal to me. And now I'm like, okay, so what do? I'm like, Nero, I need a call with you. Like, you need to call me right now. So I texted him, and he was in the middle of a move and he was stressed and he was doing his own thing. So he didn't get back to me immediately. So I'm like, oh gosh, I'm gonna have to. I sat on the carpet spiraling out of control. I'm like, oh my God, okay, maybe I'm missing something. And then now the thoughts at the back of my mind, now this is where the ego comes flowing in. In the Bible, they talk about the devil. Oh yeah, I'm telling you, the devil. My mind was like, oh, you promised in your last video that you're gonna be talking about detachment. How the fuck are you gonna teach people how to detach when you're here spiraling out of control? You clearly don't know what you're doing. What the hell is wrong with you? Blah, 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 blah. And I'm just like, oh my God. I started to spiral, guys. I spiraled, I cried, and I ended up falling asleep on the floor, and I took a nap. I took an unintentional nap because I had cried that much. So when I woke up, Nero had called me and I ended up missing his call. I woke up, I was feeling a bit better, so I went and took a walk. And then when I came back from my walk, I was like, okay, I know that I've spiraled, but I know that me spiraling doesn't mean that I've lost all my progress. I know that it doesn't mean that I've lost all my frequency. So I just realigned again. And then the next day, I'm like, nah, I have to do something. Now what's going on? And I'm like, oh my gosh. I had been maintaining this frequency for 2 months. And within those 2 months, in fact, Nero was so proud of me. He kept saying, I don't really even have anything else to tell you because you sound like you're doing okay. I can tell that you are maintaining the frequency. So this spiraling happening after 2 months of maintaining the frequency was really shocking to me. I'm like, where the hell is this coming from? Oh my gosh, I know they say it's normally darkest before dawn, but this is dark. Like it's getting dark. It's getting too dark. I don't even know what's going on. It's getting too dark. So every single day I kept reaching out to Nero and I'm like, I need a call. I need you to call me right now. And I'm like, and then he would call me, I would miss his call, and then the next day comes and I say, call me again, and then I miss his call again. Oh my God, I can't believe I'm actually telling you guys this. I'm just airing out my dirty laundry as I'm supposed to be teaching you about detachment. But the reason why I'm even telling you guys this is because I want to show you that being detached doesn't mean that you are perfectly aligned all the time. So Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, I was just spiraling and then coming back, spiraling and then coming back, spiraling and then coming back. And then Friday, my mom called me. She asked me if I would be able to pay for something big that I should have been able to pay for. And I was just like, oh my God. Now even my mom thinks that it's been too long. Guys, it was downhill from there. From the conversation with my mom, I spiraled and I was like, okay, now I have to be realistic. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just going to discount my prices for 2 days. And I posted this on my community post and I also posted it on my Instagram. And so I decided to discount my prices, and this entire time I'm like, I feel like I need to block Nero from seeing my story, because if he sees that I have discounted my prices, he's not going to be happy, because this is not me holding the frequency. This is me panicking. And I knew that. But again, I was like, I can't block him from seeing my community post, so he's obviously going to know anyway. And then at the back of my mind, I'm like, but even if I manage to hide it from him, I'm the one who's still going to be suffering, because he might be disappointed, but I'm the one who's still going to be affected. So even if I hide it from him, I'm the one who's going to suffer. So I thought, okay, I'll just let him see it and be disappointed, and then we'll talk about it in our next session. I knew that this action was not aligned. I knew that I was doing it because I was trying to make something happen. When I went on my community post, there was only one comment. And you know what that comment said? That comment literally said, I think you should wait for people to actually pay you what you're asking for. Let me even find it. Let me find it and read it for you guys, because I just thought, wow, so the universe, you're just gonna go through different people to try and get to me, to try and show me that this is not the right move, Chelsea. Don't do this, Chelsea. Maybe hold on, Chelsea. Let me find it. I think you should wait to receive exactly what you ask for, because it's what you feel your service is really worth. That's loving you right there. What's that scripture in the Bible that says something like, surely it will come? Know it, sister. I replied and I was like, you're absolutely right. Thank you for this. And then they replied back to me saying, Chelsea, you're worthy of the money you're asking for. When I'm ready, I'm going to contact you, because I'm reaching for greatness, and I know you'll assist me with bringing more out of me. You make sense. The way you explain things is so powerful. I will be the one to remind you to not waver on your desires, because I know you would tell me the exact same thing. What you want will find you, right? Let's all stay in gratitude, no matter how ugly it looks. Lol. That knocked me back right to my senses. Granted, I did only discount my prices for 2 days, so it was just a 48-hour thing. But regardless of it, that was a moment that I had wavered. So the funniest thing is, the next day, on Saturday, my mom called me and I missed her call. And then on Sunday, she reached back out and she texted me and she said, oh, actually, don't worry about what I was asking you to pay for. I'll pay for it. Just keep maintaining the frequency. Don't let this distract you. The universe is using different people to let me know that I am on the right path, and I don't need to panic about anything. I got a client who loved our session so much so that she was like, I would love to sign up to the 6-week coaching with you. In the 2 months that I have been maintaining my frequency, I literally had gotten to the point where my ego just sounded like background noise. In fact, I barely even heard the doubts anymore, because I was so aware that they were doubts. And then in 1 week, in 1 bloody week, my ego just swoops in and says, nah, let me show you who's queen. You think you've been running the show. Let me show you who's been running the show. And when I had my session with Nero, he was like, lol, this is so funny, because this is exactly what happened with Jesus, because Jesus had fasted for 40 days and nights. And then after he's successfully gone through the 40 days and nights, the devil now swoops in and is so cynical and says, if you're really the son of God, change these stones to bread. And that's exactly how the devil obviously is the ego. That's exactly how the ego sounds. It's going to sound that cynical. How are you going to tell them about detachment when you're spiraling out of control? And here's the thing. Teaching about detachment when life is not happening to you is very easy to do, because there's nothing outside of you that is really creating any sense of urgency. But being able to still stay detached, being able to still anchor in the frequency of your desired reality, in the middle of life being messy, in the middle of life happening, now that is mastery. That is true alchemy. That is real detachment. I knew that I had to include my experience in this video, because I want to show you that maintaining the frequency of your desired reality doesn't mean that you never waver. It means that you always return. Yes, you are God having a human experience, but you are having a human experience. So you are indeed going to have a human experience. Regardless of you being God, you're still gonna have a human experience. Life is still going to happen. Things are still gonna go wrong. That's just the way life is. Being detached from circumstances doesn't mean that they no longer affect you. It just means that you're able to see beyond the limitation. And it's the one act of you being able to see beyond the limitation that will end up materializing the reality that you want. When Nero said to me that that experience was literally like Jesus being tempted in the wilderness after he had already gone through the 40 days and nights, and he had already like done the heavy lifting, and then at the very end he was tested by the devil, I was like, oh my God, that's actually very true. Before you can shift timelines, your old self, your old frequency, the ego, your lower self, regardless of the name you give it, it's gonna swoop back in and try to get you one last time before it can completely go. I have been maintaining this frequency for 2 months, and I don't even need to be told that I am maintaining the frequency. I know it. Today, after the week that I had, something has shifted in my mind, and I know my manifestation is right here. In my entire journey, there was never a point that I really knew. There was points where I felt very certain, I had a lot of conviction, but it was not until that week that I had that I've come to this other end where I know. In the same way that Jesus knew before he performed miracles, he knew. He expected it. I am finally there. I am finally in the I expected. I am so grateful that I was not able to speak to Nero as I was going through the spiral that entire week, because it forced me to sit with myself. It forced me to find the wisdom in that time. It forced me to confront the last shreds of doubt, the last echoes of doubt by myself. Because if I had spoken to Nero as I was going through the spiral, I would have ended up using him as a crutch. I had to sit with myself. I literally had to go back to one of my old videos where I talked about navigating your emotions. I think the video is suppressing your emotions is ruining your life or something like that. I had to go back to that video and watch it and then sit with myself in the pain, in the sadness, in the spiral. I had to sit with myself and literally talk to my demons, because I'm like, bruh, what the fuck is going on? Why is this coming up? This entire time, the block was, yes, I had shifted. Yes, I really felt like the amount of money I was calling in was nothing to me. I literally had gotten to a point where it was feeling insultingly small. It really feels insultingly small, and still does, because I'm like, this is nothing. It's really nothing to me. The one tiny loose screw was in my clients. There was still a part of me that felt like I was taking money away from people. Previously, the way I was making money was through brand deals. And in brand deals, I was thinking about it as, okay, it's a brand deal, it's a big brand. Of course they have the budget because it's a lot of people, it's a whole company. They've been doing this for years. But now when it's a one-on-one basis, I'm like, oh, the cost of living crisis. Oh, I don't really know. I don't really know. Maybe they don't really have the money, or maybe I'm asking for too much, or I don't really... And I was not aware that this was happening in the background. So as I was still there saying that I am wealthy and I am wealth consciousness, I forgot to also add that I'm not separate from my audience. I'm not separate from my clients. I'm not above my clients. My clients are a mirror of my own consciousness. So the reason why they're following me, the reason why they are watching my content and enjoying my content is because they are on the same state of consciousness as me. So if I am saying that this amount of money is nothing to me, of course, it's also nothing to them. Because it's not just me who's in the consciousness of wealth. They are too, because they are my mirrors. That's why they watch me. That's why they watch me. And I'm like, if it's not a big deal to me to pay this amount of money, of course it's also not a big deal to them. Why the fuck would I think that it's a big deal to them? Like my viewers are different from me. Hello? The moment I had that realization, I was like, what the hell? How was I not able to see it like that? I was sort of seeing myself separate from my clients. And I'm like, I mean, I know that $250 for a consultation is nothing to me, but I don't know about them. I don't know about you guys. I don't know about you lot. That is the ego trying to make me fall for the illusion of separation, that I am separated from you. I'm not separated from you. If I am in the consciousness of wealth, of course my clients are also in the consciousness of wealth. In the same way that I know that $250 for a consultation is nothing to me, in that same way, $250 for a consultation is nothing to my clients. When I'm saying that $3,000 for a 6-week coaching with me is nothing, it's also nothing to my clients. So obviously, of course they pay me with ease. Of course they're happy to pay me. Of course they're happy to honor that. Of course they are. Why the fuck would I think any different? That was the last part of the frequency that I needed to tune. So this is what I mean when I say the gap, the lag, the void is a period of precision. Not because the universe is holding anything back from you, not because God is withholding anything back from you, not because you're being tested, but because you're fine-tuning your frequency. Manifestation is consciousness coming to light. So that consciousness, that frequency needs to be fine-tuned enough to be very precise for it to be able to be mirrored in the exact way that you want it to. And so if there's still certain parts of it missing, then the lag is going to continue. So the lag is not your enemy. It's literally there to help you. It's there is wisdom in the lag. So instead of robotically affirming and ignoring your reality, lean into that lag. Find out why it's still, what's going on? What part of this are you still not getting? What part of the frequency are you maybe still a bit not complete on? Because this last shred of self-doubt that I experienced showed me there was still a part of me that felt slightly unworthy of the money I was asking for. I felt like I was taking it away from people. And how can I be taking it away from people when I know what I'm offering? I know the value that I'm giving you. I know the value that I'm giving has the potential to completely shift your entire reality. How can you put a price on that? And I'm not even gonna lie to you guys, this is the lowest that my prices are ever gonna be. This is the lowest that my prices are ever gonna be. My audience, my clients are my mirrors. They mirror what I feel about myself. If I was still struggling to feel like my clients will have the money to pay for it, of course I ended up attracting people that don't have the money to pay for it. So now I need to give you some practical steps to actually help you detach, because knowing all these things in theory, again, is not going to help you. Simply intellectualizing this knowledge is never going to help you. You need to be able to actually apply these things in your life. So I'm going to give you some practical steps to actually help you detach. Now, the first thing, awareness. Awareness is always the first place to start, because unless you know that something is a problem or something needs to be fixed, you won't know that you need to fix it. You need to become aware of the instances that you are being attached to your manifestations. If you are constantly checking to see if something has changed, if you are looking for signs, if you're constantly watching out for angel numbers, you're trying to see, oh, has something happened, has something shifted, if you're trying to force the way it comes about, that means that there's still a part of you that is really attached to the outcome. And this is not about you judging yourself or saying that, oh, now you're messing up or something is wrong or whatever. No. When you find yourself in those situations where you're still attaching, it's a moment for you to get curious without judgment and notice, okay, I'm still holding on here. So this means that there's still a part of me that is attaching my worth to this thing. The second step is realize that your thoughts and your feelings are not real. They're based on assumptions that are anchored in your past. In the past, when you've been disappointed, or maybe you've tried to manifest something before and it just didn't work out, and then you start seeing it looking like it's happening in the exact same way. I know it feels like it's real life, and when you're having those thoughts and those feelings, it feels like this is actually happening. It's not actually happening. Your thoughts and your feelings are based on assumptions. So when you experience certain feelings or have certain thoughts, first of all, pause and realize those thoughts and emotions are assumptions. So what are you assuming in this present moment? Are you experiencing frustration and worry because you're assuming that nothing is going to happen, and if it hasn't happened by now, it's probably just never going to happen? You're assuming the lack. And so if you don't stay aware, and that's why I said the first step is awareness, if you're not aware that you're doing this, you will end up spiraling, and next thing you know, you've completely shifted your frequency and you're lost, completely lost, and now you've been maintaining the frequency of worry. Bring back the awareness that we talked about in step 1 and realize, what am I assuming in this present moment? I have shifted. It seems as though I've shifted my frequency to worry. Why have I shifted my frequency to worry? What's going on here? Talk to your demons. When a part of you is saying, oh, if it hasn't happened right now, I don't really think it's going to happen. Why? Why are you feeling like that? Oh, because we had something like this happen, a few years ago, and it didn't end up happening, and we did so much and we were disappointed anyway. So probably this is probably looking like the exact same thing. So realize when it's happening, And stay aware, your thoughts and your feelings are not real. They are based on assumptions. And therefore, if they're based on assumptions, you can change the assumption. Which leads me to step 3. Shift your perception of the problem. Every truth is a half-truth. So when you are experiencing something and it really feels like this is the only way it can be, it hasn't happened right now, so it must be a sign that it's just never going to happen. Okay, that's one way you could look at it. But there's also another way you could look at it. When I ended up spiraling, and then I was like, okay, let me sit down with myself and actually process what's going on. And when I did, I was like, okay, so the reason why I'm spiraling is because I'm scared that people won't have the money to pay me for this. And if they don't have the money to pay me, then I don't really know how I'm going to end up making the money that I want to make. And then, oh my gosh, now if I don't make the money that I want to make, what the fuck am I going to do? Am I going to have to get a job? Am I going to have... Okay, pause. Okay, let's just relax first of all. Let's notice that this is an assumption. I am assuming this because in the past, I have tried to manifest this amount of money, but I never got beyond week 1. After 1 week of maintaining the frequency, I was like, fuck, it's not happening. Fuck it. Once I started feeling doubtful, I was like, okay, I've ruined my frequency. I'm done. So this is the first time that I've actually stuck it through. So when I started to have those assumptions and I sat with myself, I was like, yeah, I'm feeling like this because I remember in the past, I never got this far. But I always used to think that if I got to maybe like month 2 or month 1, it should have manifested by now. So the fact that it hasn't manifested is making me feel like I should just give up in the same way I gave up in the past, because when I gave up in the past, I didn't have to deal with the pain of disappointment of doing all of this work and then it never manifests. So I'm like, okay, so what I'm assuming here is that it's not going to work. Okay, so what is another way that I can see what I'm perceiving right now? I'm saying, so I realized that the big problem that I was facing, the block that I had was, yes, I had shifted. Yes, I had internally shifted for myself. Yes, I had felt like this money is so normal to me, but I was still seeing myself separate from my clients. I was still perceiving myself to be separated from my clients. And so what's a different way I can choose to perceive this? I keep preaching to everyone that separation is an illusion. I am one with my client. I am one with my dream client. So of course they have the money to pay me. Of course they are also in the consciousness of wealth, because I am, because they are my mirrors. They are a mirror to my consciousness. So if I truly feel like this money is nothing, so do they. I'm not separated from them. I don't have to convince them. They see my value without me having to communicate it. Of course they do. In the quantum field, there are infinite possibilities. So there is the possibility where I end up without the manifestation. And then there's also another possibility where I end up with a fraction of the manifestation. And there's another possibility where I end up with the actual manifestation. And another possibility where I end up with way more than what I initially manifested. There are infinite possibilities. Why am I only choosing to observe the one that doesn't serve me? Because it feels realistic. It's feeling realistic because I am basing it on the past, and I'm not in the past anymore, so why would I still be listening to that? So shift your perception. And then the fourth and the final step, say it with me, class: embodiment. Embodiment is always the final step. And honestly, in my next video, if I say the last step is always, and you guys don't finish with me, I'm going to be so mad. Finish with me. You see what I did there? Anyway, yeah, so the final step is always embodiment. When you're visualizing, it's not the visualization that's going to bring the reality to you. The visualization just allows you to experience that reality without having the evidence yet. So it's not actually doing the shift. It's not the one that's bringing about the manifestation. What is bringing your manifestation is your consciousness. And what is your consciousness? Who you are being on a day-to-day basis. And so what is embodiment? Embodiment is you living, breathing, doing everything like the version of yourself that is in that reality. I'm really being selfish in this video because I'm really using myself as an example. Embodiment for me looks like talking about my services without doubt. clearly saying what I am doing and what the services that I'm offering, being grounded in the fact that I am offering value, not wavering on my prices. That is embodiment. Embodiment is me constantly showing up and giving you guys new videos, being consistent with my videos. Because a lot of people in the spiritual community think that you don't have to take any action to manifest, and that is a lie. Action is the prerequisite to your manifestation. Action is the link between frequency and materialization. Without the action, then you're just in high vibration and high frequency and happy and go lucky all the time. It doesn't help you. The action is the link between the unseen and the seen. So the difference here is frantic action versus aligned action. The point is not to just do a bunch of things and hope that one thing works, or work so hard and hope that one day something works and God rewards you. That's frantic action, and that's what 99% of the people do. Aligned action is acting in accordance to the frequency you're maintaining. So you are maintaining the frequency of a healthy person. What do healthy people do? They go to the gym, they eat right, they train their body, they go for marathons, do the things that healthy people do. Act like that, because that is what comes naturally to people who are healthy. What do wealthy people do? They invest their money, they educate themselves, they work on their businesses, they show up, they are consistent. That is what wealthy people do. And therefore, if you are claiming that you are wealthy in frequency and then your embodiment, you are embodying somebody that is poor, guess what's going to manifest? You continuously being broke. When you get up from that visualization, when you get up from that meditation, are you now reverting back to worrying about how you're going to afford things? Are you now reverting to sitting on the couch and never doing anything in your day? Would people who are wealthy do that? Would they do that? For me, it looks like not taking it personally when I don't get clients. Not taking it personally when I don't get clients, because in the past, I would take it so personally if I advertised myself and no one showed up. I would take it as, oh my gosh, yeah, it probably means that I'm not worthy, or I don't really know, maybe it's even embarrassing for me to keep going. But now I'm going to clearly say what I'm doing. I confidently say what it is that I'm offering, because I now finally see my value. I see my value beyond the money. I'm not waiting for that amount of money for me to feel like I'm valuable. I am valuable, and therefore me getting that money is just an inevitability, because I already know that my worth comes from the fact that I am one with God. I am God, and therefore I am infinite. There's nothing that I need. There's nothing that is outside of me. There's nothing that is outside of me that can give me what it is that I'm looking for. You don't want what you think you want. You want the feeling that is going to give you. You want that amount of money because what you're really seeking is security, is freedom, it's peace of mind. That's what you're truly seeking. Because if you were to just get that money and it sits in your bank account, it's not going to help you. So it's not about the money. It's about what that money is going to do for you and how those things are going to make you feel. When all your bills are paid on time, that's going to make you feel secure. When you're able to travel around the world and do whatever you want, you feel free. When you're able to hire as many people to help you and so you can get more time for yourself, it's giving you freedom. The thing that you are seeking, you already have. The problem is your ego, your limited self, your lower self, your old frequency is making you think that you need to get that thing first in order for you to experience those emotions, in order for you to have that experience that you're seeking from yourself. I keep declaring, I don't affirm, I declare. I make statements of truth. I keep making the statement of truth that even now, especially now, I have more than enough. I have more than enough. So of course, I keep having more than enough. Of course, I keep attracting people who are wanting to help me. It's not an affirmation. It's not something that I'm robotically saying and I'm hoping that it's going to be true. There's an energy that affirmations have that to me feels like you're trying to convince yourself of something. You don't affirm your name. You don't say that I am Chelsea, I am Chelsea, I am Chelsea, I am Chelsea, I am Chelsea. You're looking into the mirror and saying that I am Chelsea. So why do you need to be saying to the mirror that I am loved, I am loved, I am loved, I am loved? If you're actually loved, then you're just loved. So you make the statement of truth because you know it's true. Even now, especially now, I have more than enough. That's not an affirmation. It's the truth. It's the truth. And because of that, it's really been the truth for me. Once you have detached, it must manifest. Because what is truly manifesting is not the thing. What's manifesting is the realization of your worth. The realization that you have had every single thing all along. Every single thing that you've been seeking, through that partner that you're trying to attract, through that amount of money that you're trying to attract, through that business deal that you're trying to attract. You have had all those things all along. So give yourself permission to relish in the joy, in the peace of mind, in the calmness, in the security of having those things. Because guess what? Your brain doesn't know the difference between what's happening in real life and what's happening through imagination alone. So the game is not you actually materializing things. The game is in what you continue to imagine, regardless of what is going on around you. Maintaining the frequency doesn't mean that you never waver. It means that you always return. That is how you detach.